So in the previous lecture, we mentioned we derived the form of the Hamiltonian operator. So this was what we derived for the discrete case is the following. This operator plus half and this nk hat operator is nothing but a hat dagger. So I put hats on top, but I will, from the rest of the discussion, I will skip that hat on top. So we derived this expression for the Hamiltonian operator in the previous lecture, and we also found the interpretation for this operator. The interpretation for this operator nk hat is quite simple. It basically is the number operator which measures the which is equal or which gives you what is the number of particles with momentum k vector, and therefore you also have the interpretation for this state. So this is the number representation of the states, the occupation number representation. It basically tells you how many particles are there with momentum k. So in general, you get like this: nk1, nk2, and so on. So this is a number state on which these number operators act, and this tells you how many particles are there, small n k1 vector. It tells you how many particles are there with momentum k1, with momentum k2, and so on. So this interpretation of this term gives you the tells us that this is basically a number operator. Now comes let us come to these A's. So we need to find an interpretation for this A and A dagger. So what does it do? And we have checked that dagger, we have the following relation that A dagger K acting on NK is some number. This is the number that we have determined, and it is nk plus 1. And similarly, we have also seen that ak nk is equal to some number nk minus 1k. So we have done these calculations and we have seen that ak acting on this state, and now we have the interpretation for this state. It gives you a state with one particle less, right? And so in this way, if you keep on acting this state nk with, so this has the interpretation of an annihilation operator because it annihilates one particle, right? It annihilates a particle with momentum k. So this has the interpretation of an annihilation operator, and this has the interpretation of a creation operator because it creates a particle with momentum k. So let me write it down as 1 suffix k. So it tells you that it's one particle, a single particle having a momentum k vector, 3 momentum. So this is the annihilation operator and this is the creation operator, and therefore A dagger A, as we know that this basically gives the number operator. So we now have the interpretations for A and A dagger as the annihilation and creation operator for particles. So now see the difference between the interpretation of A and A dagger in field theory and in ordinary quantum mechanics of a single particle. In ordinary quantum mechanics of a single particle, A is an annihilation operator, A dagger is a creation operator. But what does it do? When the creation operator acts on an energy state, it takes you from one energy state to another excited energy state. Okay? But no particle is created. It is only it is a theory of a one particle. But here, the interpretations of A and A dagger are quite different. When A dagger acts on some number representation state, it basically creates particles. So it is a creation operator for particles. And this is a destruction operator for particles. That is why it annihilates. So we say that it's an annihilation operator for the particles. So we have the interpretation. Now we look at this equation. Let us start from 5 particles, right? So if we have a state with 5 particles, so a situation will come if you keep on acting with this annihilation operator. A situation will come when you will have a state with no particles, and that is the state we denote it by 0, and this is said to be the vacuum state. Okay. So this is a state with no particles. There are no particles. So you keep on acting with the annihilation operator. A situation comes when there are no particles in this state, and this is a vacuum state. You act with the annihilation operator once more. So again, the vacuum state by definition is something. So you act with the annihilation operator on the vacuum state once more, and it will just annihilate the vacuum, and you will get a 0. And there is a difference between this 0 and this 0. This is a vacuum state. It denotes a state with no particles. But this is not a vacuum state. This is just 0. There is nothing. There is a difference between this state 0 and this 0. Now, since the vacuum state is a state containing no particles, if you act with the annihilation operator, with the creation operator A dagger K on the vacuum state K 0, it will give you 1K. And you keep on doing this. If you keep on doing this, you will get 2K, 2 particles with momentum K, 3K, and so on. And because of this relation. And therefore, you can understand that this NK is really an integer. It starts from 0, and then you act with the creation operator, you keep on acting with the creation operator, it increases in steps of 1, and therefore nk is really an integer. And therefore comes the interpretation. Once again, it is consistent with the interpretation of this operator as a number operator. It measures the number of particles with momentum k. And therefore, these are really, these numbers nk that you have, these are really integers. The next thing that I would like to mention is the following. I don't find a duster here. It is a duster. Someone has removed the duster. Okay, now all the states that you have, so this is a number state, and then you can act it with some AK. So this is a state, you know, it's a state with one particle less momentum K. So this is once again a state in the Hilbert space. So there can be infinitely many states in the Hilbert space of this form, NK. You can have NK minus 1. The vacuum state is obviously a very important state. It is a state which contains no particles, therefore it is a state of minimum energy, vacuum state. So if you have something like this, NK, so this is a state in the Hilbert space. This is the vacuum state. The annihilation operator annihilates the vacuum, and you can have several states in the Hilbert space, infinitely many states. So these are all number representation states. The states which tells you what is the number of how many number of particles are there in a particular momentum. And therefore, all these states, they form a Hilbert space. Why? Because let us see, if you construct any arbitrary vector like this, if you have a number representation state nk, act it with the annihilation operator ak, and you take the norm of this state. So what will be the norm of this state? The norm of this state will be nk a dagger k. Right? Just take it and act it and take the complex conjugate, take the bra, and just multiply. If you do this, this is the norm of the state, right? Now, a dagger k, ak is what? It is a number operator. Therefore, this gives you basically a capital nk hat, which acting on small nk will give you nk. So what you have is this, and therefore this full quantity is greater than or equal to 0. So all the norm of all these states, if you need to normalize them obviously, but you can at least see that the norm, if you even if these states are not normalized, the norm of these states are positive definite. Therefore, these states really form a vector space, and in fact, this forms a Hilbert space, and the Hilbert space that you get out of these number representation states is said to be the Fock space. This particular Hilbert space is said to be a Fock space. So this is something. It is basically an infinite dimensional Hilbert space. These states form an infinite dimensional Hilbert space, and such an infinite dimensional Hilbert space, number representation Hilbert space, is said to be a Fock space. You can actually check one more thing. Since you have the expression for the Hamiltonian operator that we have already derived in the previous lecture, you can now define some operators like this. Pk hat is equal to omega k by 2 square root a k plus a dagger k. So this is an operator which is pk hat, and you can also define another operator which is qk hat, which is minus I by this Okay, you can see by construction these two operators are Hermitian operators. You have this I over here sitting, this I here, because this full operator has to be a Hermitian operator. So if you define two operators, by definition pk and qk are defined like this. So if you define these two operators in this way, and now you just calculate the following thing. So you just calculate half of pk square plus omega k square qk square. I'm not putting hats on top. So let us calculate this object. So you can immediately see that what you will get is the following. From pk square, we will get omega k by 2, and then there will be 4 terms, which are ak, ak, so this is one term that you will get from pk square. So this gives you pk square, and then qk square, and you have omega k square in front, multiplied by qk square. Therefore, you will once again get omega k by 2, and then you will have, and this will be a minus. because of the minus I that you have. This will be AK minus A plus A dagger K minus AK B dagger K minus B dagger K. So this is what we shall have. And you can immediately see that this term cancels, this term cancels. And therefore, what you will get finally is half of these terms will add up, and therefore if you just add it up, it will give you omega k by 2 AK dagger AK plus AK dagger. So that is what we shall get. And you can see that therefore, since the Hamiltonian operator is half of summation over k omega k A dagger k AK plus AK A dagger k. We have already derived this relation. This is the Hamiltonian operator. Therefore, you can see that since this is equal to this, therefore, you can write this as half of summation over k pk square plus omega k square. And this answers one of the questions that you raised earlier, that is this a coincidence that the Hamiltonian operator is basically a sum of infinitely many simple harmonic oscillators. It is indeed true. You can now see that the Hamiltonian operator can be defined or can be written down in terms of pk square, in terms of some variable which looks like the momentum, pk square plus omega k square qk square. So this is simply, you know that this is the Hamiltonian of a simple harmonic oscillator. You can see. So this p is the momentum and q is the position. And therefore, if you have similar interpretations like that, and you have a similar form to that of a harmonic oscillator Hamiltonian. Therefore, it is no wonder that you get the Hamiltonian of this quantum field theory to be of this form. Is this clear? Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
So what we have shown, what we have basically shown is that the Hamiltonian which we wrote down. So we now also have the interpretations for AK and A dagger K, and the interpretations are AK is the annihilation operator for particles, and A dagger K creates particles. And you can write the Hamiltonian operator in terms of the creation and annihilation operators. If you use the commutation relation between AK and A dagger K, then you can write this term as half plus A dagger K AK, and this term adds up, and therefore what you get is the following: this half cancels, and this gives you a 1, not half. This is a 1 plus A dagger K AK. This and this adds up. The 2 gets cancelled, and therefore you get when you divide this 1 by 2, you get this factor of half, and now your final result it becomes summation over K omega K n hat n K plus half. And so we have this is the result which you get after using the commutation relation, and this result is also equal to this. This is the harmonic oscillator. This resembles the Hamiltonian of a harmonic oscillator. And in the previous class, we discussed that you get an infinite contribution from this half omega k term because there is a summation over all possible momentum k. So that is an infinite ground state, infinite 0-point energy. So when there are no particles. So what it basically says is the following. It tells you that, let me go to the other side of the board. What it tells us is the following. So if you act the vacuum state with the Hamiltonian operator, so that will give you summation over k omega k n hat k plus half acting on the vacuum. So this is what you will get, this Hamiltonian operator acting on the vacuum. But nk hat is a dagger k ak hat acting on the vacuum, it annihilates the vacuum, so this term is 0. This term acting on the vacuum is 0, and therefore what we get is summation over k half omega k is 0. So it tells you that this vacuum state by definition is the state which gets annihilated by the annihilation operator, and also it is a state which contains 0 particles, no particles at all. Okay, so this vacuum state is a state whose energy is this, because you can read out the eigenvalue from this equation. The energy of the vacuum state is basically this quantity, summation over k half of omega t. This is the energy of this vacuum state, and you can see that this energy, this is called the 0-point energy. And you know that in quantum mechanics, ordinary quantum mechanics, the reason why the 0-point energy originates is the Heisenberg principle, uncertainty principle. And here also, since you also have the uncertainty principle here, it is also working here. Therefore, the only difference between quantum field theory and ordinary quantum mechanics is that the 0-point energy in ordinary quantum mechanics of a single particle does not divert, but it is there. The ground state has some finite amount of energy, and that is called the 0-point energy. But in field theory, there is again the ground state has some energy, but that energy is not finite, it is infinite because of this structure. So this is the 0-point energy of the ground state. Now in the previous lecture, we also discussed something that was important. We remarked about the following thing, which is normal ordering. So let us discuss what normal ordering is once more. So H hat normal order is nothing but summation over k omega k in k plus half. And this is the normal ordering of the Hamiltonian operator. And by definition, this is nothing but summation over k omega k in k. What it means is that you just throw the 0-point energy by hand. This is the technical meaning of this. Another thing that I mentioned in the last class is that if you have some operator like this, AK, a dagger K, normal order, it basically means by definition it is a dagger K, AK. Normal ordering just gives you a dagger K, AK. But if you have AK and a dagger K, this is basically the commutator of AK, a dagger K, plus a dagger K. The commutator is 1. So what normal ordering does is it basically takes all the creation operators to the left-hand side of the annihilation operators. Basically, it ignores these factors, these commutators. It just throws them away. So this is just a very formal definition. This is a formal definition of normal ordering. By definition, this is the operation that it does. So if you do the process of normal ordering, it basically gets rid of this 0 point energy by hand. Not physically, but by hand. You just forget about it. Okay. Now, the last thing that I would like to discuss about this real scalar field theory is the following. Let us look at a single particle state. How do you get the notion of one particle normalized state and wave function from field theory? This is the point that we would like to address. So we know that a state with momentum k, so one particle state, so you can write it like this k, or you can also write it like this 1k. This single particle state, both are same, equivalent. This is nothing but a dagger k acting on vacuum. Creation operator acting on the vacuum state, which contains no particles. If it acts on that, it creates a single particle with momentum k. Now, what we would like to do is the following. We would first like to check whether this state is normalized or not. So let us take a prime a and calculate this overlap. Let us calculate this particular overlap. So graph k prime vector. So that is nothing but vacuum a prime, and then we have a dagger k get 0. Okay. But now what we would like to do is bring the annihilation operator on this side, because we know the annihilation operator acting on the vacuum on the right gives you 0. So for that, what we have to do is use the commutation relation. So you can write this as a prime, a dagger k commutator plus a dagger k, a prime acting on vacuum. You can replace this thing by commutator plus this thing. But this term, a dagger ak prime acting on vacuum will give you 0. So this term vanishes. This is 0. But what is the commutator? Commutator is delta k prime. So this is delta k comma k prime, and then you have 0, 0. If you assume that the vacuum state is normalized, so bra 0 k 0 is 1 is equal to 1, and therefore this is equal to delta k comma k prime. So this overlap of k with k prime is indeed normalized, because when k is not equal to k prime, then that is 0. So these k's form an orthonormal basis. So k when k is not equal to k prime, k and k prime states they are orthonormal, they are orthogonal, so their overlap is 0. And when k is equal to k prime, it is equal to 1. Therefore, the state k is normalized. Okay. So now let us look at so we have this overlap, and now let us look at the wave function for this one particle state. Okay, the wave function is basically k. So if we just consider, say, one dimension, say 1 plus 1 dimension. So let us consider only one spatial dimension. Then this is basically this. The overlap of k with bra x. We're taking the coordinate representation of this momentum state with momentum k. Now this k, you can write it down as a dagger k, a dagger k, and this x state whose position is x, you can basically write it as phi dagger x acting on vacuum. So this is like an operator which which gives you is a particle with at position x. It gives you the position of the particle. We write it in this way. But phi dagger is equal to phi because this is a real scalar field. Therefore, this is phi of x. This. If you take a graph of that, you get graph 0. Again, phi dagger, but phi dagger is phi. This is phi x. Okay. So this wave function psi of x, which is this overlap, is basically nothing but this thing. But phi of x, you know what the mode expansion of phi of x is? It is basically summation. Since you already have a k here, so let us use a dummy k prime. 1 by 2 omega k prime volume V k prime, not k. We are using one dimension. Let us just say k prime, not vector. It's omega k prime. Okay. One spatial dimension. So this is k prime. And then we will have e to the power of minus I k prime dot x plus a dagger k prime to the power I prime dot x a dagger k. Is this okay? So what we have done is we have substituted the mode expansion for phi of x in this equation, and we get this thing. Now you see that this state, let us consider the last term. This state is basically a dagger k creates a particle with momentum k, then it creates a particle with momentum k prime. So you get a state which contains two particles with momentum k and k prime, and the other side is vacuum. Therefore, they are orthogonal. So it is 0. Also, you can look it from another direction. A dagger k acting on the bra gets 0 on the vacuum, which is a bra now. This is basically 0. It annihilates the bra, like the vacuum state. This is now the. So this particular term is 0. So what you have is only this term, a k prime a dagger k, and we have already calculated it on the other side of the board. The same calculation you convert it to a commutator and bring the annihilation operator on the right hand side. If you do that, what you will get is summation was k prime 1 by 2 omega k prime volume V. Okay, volume V you can here replace it by length L because we are considering one dimension, one spatial dimension. So this is length L 1 by 2 omega k prime length capital L square root of that, and then from this term a k prime a dagger k sandwiched between 0 and 0, this vacuum state, that will give us nothing but delta k k prime. And also you will get e to the power of minus I k prime x from this term. Now you can perform the summation. The summation can be done. And therefore, you will get 1 by 2 omega k prime, then L square root to the power of minus a, not k prime, I k x. Because k prime contributes only when k prime is equal to k. The summation over k prime goes away, and all the k primes gets replaced by k. Therefore, we have the result, the wave function psi of x for a state with momentum k. So it is a single particle state. It's basically nothing but 1 by 2 omega k. So this is the same wave function that you get in ordinary quantum mechanics when you normalize, and this state is normalized. This is a normalized state. So you calculate mod psi star square and integrate over the whole volume, you will get basically 1. So this is now the wave function. You can interpret this as a wave function for the single particle state with momentum k, and this is the wave function. You know that since it's a single particle state with momentum k, you get the wave function for that state to be a plane wave. You should get plane waves here because this is a free theory. You know that free particles, they are represented they can be represented by plane waves, and that is what you get over here. So is this okay? Is this point clear?
Yes, sir.
So I will not start anything new today. So this actually completes our discussion completely about our discussion about this real scalar field theory. So today we have completed the discussion on real scalar free field theory. These are free fields.
Sir,
So what we found in this scalar field theory, real scalar field theory, is first of all a relativistic quantum field theory. We have learned how to quantize the theory. So in order to quantize, we have this equal time computation relation. Then we have taken the inverse. Then we have made a mode expansion of this field operator in terms of the normal modes of the Klein-Gordon equation. And then you can take inverse Fourier transforms, and then you have the interpretation of these operators AK and AK dagger in the Fourier space as creation or as annihilation and creation operators. Then you can construct the Hamiltonian operator, and you can see when you derive the form of this Hamiltonian operator by using the mode expansion, you see that you get the Hamiltonian operator to be an infinite sum of it to be a sum of infinitely many harmonic oscillators. And then we see that there is a 0-point energy. We define the vacuum state of minimum energy, although this state has infinite energy because it has a 0-point energy. So we see what we define the vacuum state or the ground state of this quantum field theory as a state which gets annihilated by the annihilation operator, and it is a state which contains no particles, but it has energy. This is something very curious. The relativistic field theory, it is a state which has no particles, but still it has an infinite amount of energy, which actually tells us that the vacuum that you have in quantum field theory has indeed a lot of structure. It is not something trivial. It is something very non-trivial. The vacuum, even though it does not contain any particles, but in quantum field theory, the vacuum can also have an infinite amount of energy, and that is it. And this fact that the vacuum has an infinite amount of energy, which is a 0-point energy, it owes its origin to the Heisenberg uncertainty energy, uncertainty principle. These are the 0-point fluctuations that you have in quantum theory. So it owes its origin to the 0-point fluctuations, and the 0-point fluctuations are responsible for this Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So you see that the vacuum state in quantum field theory has an infinite amount of energy, and this has a physical consequence. You can actually test it in the laboratory. It has a physical effect, and that effect is known as Casimir effect. And if we have time, we will discuss what the Casimir effect is. This is a very non-trivial check or non-trivial test of quantum field theory, that indeed quantum fields are present around us. This is something very important. So we have learned what the vacuum state is, we have learned what 0-point energy is, and we have also learned some technical thing, which is normal ordering. This normal ordering is also something very important. It tells you that you just throw away, forget about the 0-point energy for the time being, and work with the finite is. So this is called normal ordering, process of normal ordering. And then we have also seen how you can construct the wave functions of single particle states from the language of quantum field theory, from the language of creation and annihilation operator. What is the role of this creation and annihilation operators? The creation and annihilation operators, basically, the creation operator creates particles. It creates single particle, two particles from the vacuum state, and so on. And the annihilation operators basically destroys particles. And an important thing that you must have noticed is that these number representation states nks, this can take any values from 0, 1 to anything. So this is something very important. It can take any integral values, these numbers, which represents the number of particles with momentum k. It is actually consistent. It is actually completely consistent with Bose-Einstein statistics. It tells you that in a particular quantum state there can be as many particles as you like. So these particles are basically bosons, and therefore there is a connection of using commutation. There is a connection between the commutation relations that you use and the Bose-Einstein statistics. So here we find that since we have used the commutation relations, it gives rise to Bose-Einstein statistics. It gives rise to particles which can take, and it gives rise to particles which in a particular quantum state with momentum k, there can be as many as infinitely many particles, and therefore it tells you that these particles are basically bosons. So this is basically a consequence of the commutation relation. So these are the things that we have learned in this relativistic scale, real scalar field quantum field theory. So in the next lecture, today I will not start because I want to end the discussion here. From Monday, what we shall do, we shall start quantizing the complex scalar field. So this is a real scalar field. We shall start the complex scalar field and canonically quantize theory and see what happens. So you already have a flavor of this, so it will not take much time for us to quantize the complex scalar field. And Monday there is an announcement. Please be here at 10:45. We shall start the class from 10:45.
Sir,
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, yes,
I
please.
mean, there you have acted phi dagger x on ket 0 and written it as ket x.
Yes.
So, can we write that factor as ket x, or there should be some other factors also included there? I mean, in the structure of phi, there is integration over all the momentum states. So, will no factor be there?
See, you forget about what structure it has. It has in terms of momentum. It is, see, A dagger K. Where did I write? A dagger K. Let me go to the other side of the board. It will be here. See, A dagger K acting on this vacuum state gives you a state with momentum K vector. Okay, and that is in the momentum space, in the Fourier space. Similarly, when you write the field operators in terms of this x's, so these are field operators in the configuration space, not in the momentum space. It is in the configuration space. What I'm saying is that the field operator in the configuration space from which we started actually, this acting on the vacuum state gives you a single particle at the position x. Just as the creation operator A dagger K acting on the vacuum state gives you a particle, single particle with momentum K, it gives you a single particle with momentum at the position X.
So, can it be derived, sir, this relation? I mean, from whatever we have done.
Well, we have in a sense we have actually derived it, right? See this definition that we have written down, Kx is equal to phi dagger x Kt0. So phi dagger x acting at Kt0 gives you this thing. Kx is actually completely compatible with this, with the momentum state, with the momentum thing that we have already discussed. It's compatible with this. Ket 0, A dagger K acting on Ket 0 gives you Ket K. Is completely compatible with this thing. And if you are really still not very satisfied with this thing, I think you are satisfied with this thing, right?
Yes,
Because
yes,
we have already derived it. This is completely okay, right?
yes, sir.
Okay, good. So if you are not satisfied with this thing, then you just turn the table around. Okay, you turn your table around and put the argument in a different way. Let us say that get psi of x is equal to or you know what get psi of x should be. It is a wave function like this. You know that this should be the wave function, right? And you also know that get psi of x should be ket x and bra x, right?
Yes,
Get
sir.
this psi of x, the wave function should be ket k bra x, right?
Yes, sir.
This one quantum mechanics. And you also know what the free particle, what should be the wave function, what is the wave function of a free particle with momentum k. You know the wave function. The wave function should be this,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you know that psi of x should be equal to this and that should be equal to this.
Okay.
Now you use the fact that ket k is a dagger k, ket 0 in this relation. Use this fact. Put k as a dagger k, ket 0. And from there you derive what x should be in terms of the field operator. And you will get this relation.
Okay.
Is it okay?
Okay, okay, sir.
You just put the argument around. You just put the argument in a different way, from a different angle. You state psi of x is this, you know, from quantum mechanics, and you know what the free particle state is in quantum mechanics. So you take it to be this. You take k to be a dagger k ket 0, and from there you derive what should be the form of this bra x in terms of the field operator phi and the vacuum state. And that will give you the answer that this must be equal to this. Okay?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Good.
Sir,
So, well,
sir, suppose we have an operator like a dagger k, ak plus 1, nothing else.
just
If
let me write it. Please tell me the operator.
a dagger k, ak plus 1,
E dagger k.
ak plus 1.
Okay.
If we normal order it, is it mandatory to get rid of the constant?
See here, this operator does not make any sense to normal order or normal ordering of this operator will give you this one, because normal ordering by definition is what? Put all the creation operators to the left of the annihilation operators. It is all in that form. So if you normal order this will give a dagger k, ak plus 1.
Sir, I was exactly not understanding this point because we can also write the Hamiltonian in the form a dagger k, ak plus half. If we don't know the ground state energy by normal ordering, we cannot throw away the half factor actually. I mean, if we just have the Hamiltonian operator, nothing else, nothing information else, no other information, then we cannot throw away half. So,
No.
actually,
This half has come up because we have used the commutation relation.
yeah, that is true, sir. But
And now, since there is a half, therefore the vacuum state has an infinite amount of energy.
I am saying that if we just have the Hamiltonian operator and no other else information like what is the vacuum state and what is the energy of the vacuum state, if we then normal order, we don't get rid of the half actually.
No, you're not getting the point. The point is that it is not that you don't have the information. See, why are you try to understand why we are trying to normal order? Why are we normal ordering? Because we find that when you have this Hamiltonian operator, this one,
Yeah.
you see that this Hamiltonian operator has a term which is infinite.
Yes.
You find that this Hamiltonian operator has a term when you use the commutation relation, it involves a term or it gives rise to a term which is infinite. And therefore, in order to get, so it is the first time that you encounter an infinity in your theory. In quantum field theory, it is the first time. It is a very simple free theory, not even interacting theory. There are no interactions. It's a free theory, quantum field theory. But in a free quantum field theory, you have encountered an infinity. It is the first time that you have encountered an infinity. Since you have encountered an infinity, therefore it is a problem. Your physical theory cannot have infinities, right?
Yes, sir.
A physical theory should not have infinities. And therefore, normal ordering is just a very naive way to forget about that infinity. But actually that infinity is there. It is there. It has physical consequences. So it means that if you really throw it away by hand, you just forget about it, you are actually throwing essential piece of physics. So it is really not good to throw that infinite amount of energy, the 0 point energy, away just by hand, because it has physical consequences.
So, sir,
And
exactly there is infinite energy. I mean, in
yes,
reality.
yes, it has.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes, sir, I understood now.
okay, good. So if you have no more questions for today, then we will meet on Monday at 10:45. So let us stop here. Thank you very much.